Bad Larry.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry. Today we are checking out the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 30, titled The Claws of the Cat, a Stan Lee and Steve Ditko joint. This is probably one of my least favorite covers so far in the run. Spider-Man, even though he is center frame, he is so small, and the enemy is there. Can you see him tucked away in the left? Yeah, everything is dark, and it's like more Batman than Spider-Man. Let me know your thoughts. And if you're keeping track, this new enemy Spider-Man shall face in this issue counts as new enemy number 27. That's outrageous. In 30 issues of Spider-Man, he's faced 27 different enemies. We definitely don't get that type of creativity in today's comics. Look, I'm giving you fair warning. Whatever Stan Lee was taking during this time frame made him overdose on story and words. This issue is the most wordy so far. Look, I'm keeping the words in case you want to read it for yourself, but just saying it's a lot. Anywho, we pick up right where we left off in issue 29. Ned and this ginger lady are looking after Betty Brant. She's fine, by the way, but you know who isn't fine? Old Bones Aunt May. She has the vertigo or something like that. But like a tough old pigeon, she keeps on trucking, hiding her symptoms well. We're introduced to the Cat Burglar. Of course, Stan and Steve had to make these villains the same color base as all the others, green, because in this world, villains wear green or purple. Them's the rules. Oh, and he's ugly. That's another rule, too. The Cat Burglar robbed J. Jonah Jameson. Karma's a bitch, Jameson. The cops are aware of the Cat Burglar's activities, but why did the thief target Jameson at all? Elsewhere, a group of military-type thieves are attempting to rob a truck transporting uranium. It seems they work for the Cat Burglar, or do they actually? I said earlier, the bad guys are in green or purple, so these lot chose the purple jumpsuits to look different from the Cat Burglar. Makes sense. Spider-Man swings into action. He's always in the right place at the right time, this guy. The robbers have magnetic boots to keep them locked onto the speeding truck and uses that to get Spider-Man off balance and throw him from the truck. So Spider-Man decides to try and track them from the rooftops. Here's a quick note, this last frame where Spider-Man says, I eat my crunchies and brush after every meal. I'm sure I'm going to win in the end. So during this time from issue number 25 to 38, when Steve Ditko leaves, Stan and Steve had stopped communicating verbally. Steve Ditko thought that he was not getting enough credit for his storylines, so Stan Lee was writing this dialogue, not knowing exactly what was going to happen in the end. So this is why he said, I'm sure I'm going to win in the end. He was writing the dialogue as Steve Ditko was providing him the pages. So Stan didn't even know exactly what was going to happen at the end of these stories. Little inside baseball here. Jameson decides to put out $1,000 reward for all his stuff back. And back in 1965, that was a lot. That's about $10,000 in today's money. So who wants that money? Spider-Man wants that money. Will Jameson even pay if Spider-Man catches the Cat Burglar and gets his stuff back? I doubt it. Jameson makes a call into old Foswell, a.k.a. Patchy McGee, and definitely not the crime master. He was never the crime master, I've been told. Anyway, Foswell puts out his favorite disguise, Patchy McGee, to try to get the underground information. Peter accidentally runs into Liz Allan on the street. She looks a little bit different, even though it's the same artist, Steve Ditko, who's drawing her. And if you're a Liz Allan fan, well, you're going to have to wait 100 issues before she's even seen again. That's wild. Dang. I knew Flash was a creepazoid. He has a history of stalking You know, he stalked Peter Parker back in issue number 24, and now he's stalking Liz Allan trying to find out where she works. This Flash is out of control. Let it go, buddy. Flash is supposed to be at an Empire State University. He can't find a college girl there. He's got to stalk Liz Allan. Flash talks that mess to Peter, but Peter notices a shadow on the rooftop. Looks like Old May has a gun. Is it the Cat Burglar? Peter puts old Flash to sleep with just a little tappity tap. Lucky he didn't throw his ass into a trash can where he belongs. And it's back to business, hunting down the Cat Burglar in order to get that reward money that Jameson for sure will never pay him. Well, Spider-Man does a good thing and stops a robbery, but the guy is just a normal thug. He's not the Cat Burglar. When Flash comes back around to the real world, Peter lies about where Liz Allan works. Flash knows it's a lie. Peter knows Flash knows it's a lie, but Flash has to double check anyway, like you do. And now, what is Peter gonna do? He's gonna call Betty? Why? I feel like they're just forcing these interactions now. I could understand it when Peter was in high school, but everybody has moved on. These high school chums need to go. We need to be introduced to new civilian characters in Peter's life. Betty is feeling better and better and tells Peter to come over right away. So important. Just to tell Peter that Ned has asked her to marry him. I mean, why even waste Peter's time? Peter thinks telling Betty that he's Spider-Man is going to change her mind, but we learned Betty does not like Spider-Man at all. I've been telling Peter to leave this girl alone for so long. Betty just wants a regular old Joe with a boring life and a boring job, come home, go to work, yada, yada, yada. Peter is not for her. Hopefully, this will be it for Betty and we can all move on. This is just so messy. And the thing is, Betty really does love Peter, but come on, she's been treating him like trash. And as Spider Man, they're just not compatible. The pain they feel is real, though. It must be hard to let that relationship go. Foswell calls Jameson while he's wearing his old Patchy McGee disguise, letting Jameson know the streets are too quiet. He's got nothing to report so far. Peter says he loves Betty. Come on, man. Not really. He just doesn't want to lose her to Ned. He just doesn't want to be a loser. Just what Peter needs. It's a distraction, a bank robbery. Now he can blow off some steam as Spider-Man. Even with guns, these goons are just too slow. Hitting a moving target is tough, even up close, and especially when the target is moving around all hanky-wanky like Spider-Man. The purple jumpsuit gang hired these lame-o goons to rob the bank for them, but now Spider-Man put a kibosh to that plan. I don't know why the purple goons hired out. They subcontracted the robbery when they seem to have better tech, better tactics. This issue is so odd, this storyline. The odd feeling of this issue and the last issue and even the cover art, it all goes back to the schism that's occurring between Steve Ditko and Stan Lee right now. Steve wanted more of a realistic approach to the storylines and more focus on Peter Parker and his personal life, which is what we're seeing. Less fanciful, less crazy villains with superpowers. Steve Ditko wanted a more grounded, realistic type story, where Stan wanted the more adventurous, fun type story. And to Stan's credit, Stan wanted to get rid of J. Jonah Jameson because he understood how much people hated him, like me, and it was Steve Ditko that fought to keep J. Jonah Jameson in the stories, which is interesting. Everyone is full of Cap. Peter lies to Aunt May lies to Peter about her health. Everyone is just keeping secrets. Peter's in the doldrums with the Betty situation. Keep your head up, son. And we get a better look at the ugly ginger mug of this cat burglar, a regular old smoking unemployed uncle of someone. What is interesting about this issue is the villain is not a superpowered guy at all. The crimes are all very basic criminal type stuff. It just doesn't feel like a Spider-Man story, which I said earlier, or that Spider-Man is even needed in this story. There doesn't feel like there's anything else really at large or really at stake here. The cat burglar is getting cocky though. Old Foswell thinks he's got a lead on the cat burglar. This seems like Jameson and Foswell versus the cat burglar and not Spider-Man at all. Peter is ghosting Betty like he should. He just doesn't have anything else to say to her that will make any difference at this point. Peter runs off to do some Spider-Man stuff, get his mind off of Betty. Some random civilian spots the cat burglar and the cops are now alerted. It's not hard to figure out where the action is. These giant ass spotlights kind of give it away. It seems like Spider-Man is always a bit late to the party in this issue. Jameson is pissed to see Spider-Man is on the hunt. He really can't think of handing over $1,000 to Spider-Man, his greatest enemy. Recently, Spider-Man got stopped in his tracks by some gas, which I said was fine in that issue, but a regular old light? Come on, man. The cat burglar has Spider-Man on ice skates, bumbling all over the place. Thankfully, Spider-Man has sticky fingers. He needs to lock in against this bum. The cat burglar explodes the water tank, buying him a little bit of time, but come on, this old uncle with the cigarette lungs can't outrun Spider-Man. The one good thing we get in this issue is getting some great Spider-Man agility. Revolvers are just trash against Spider-Man. Yeah, old boy is sweating bullets. He's trapped between the cops and Spider-Man and only has a dumbass revolver as his main weapon and no superpowers. This guy is cooked tunas. Well, maybe not. He's like Cable with all these pouches, and these pouches clearly are full of bombs. I'm giving these cops too much credit. The cat burglar has easily given them the slip, but not for long. There's just too many cops, not enough smoke. The cat burglar is caught. Spider-Man did absolutely nothing to this guy. It was all the cops, and Spider-Man gets no money either. What a waste! The best Spider-Man can get is some pictures to sell to Jameson. Somehow, Jameson is let off the hook again. This dude is too lucky for being a real turd burglar. Peter is cold as ice. He tells Betty to basically piss off. There's nothing more to talk about. And is even letting Jameson pay whatever he wants for pictures. Our boy is just too depressed. Like many of these issues, we see Peter Parker walking away with his head down. The mirage of Spider-Man, the idea of Spider-Man is what's keeping Peter Parker and Betty apart. But let's be real. Peter can't give up being Spider-Man for Betty. It's his calling. So now Peter just has to go home and cry in his Wheaties. Make sure you brush afterwards. I'll be honest, this issue doesn't feel like Stan Lee wrote it, which he really didn't. It was more of a Steve Ditko story. Stan Lee just wrote the dialogue. As a Spider-Man fan, I'll say this is one of my least favorite Spider-Man issues, but it's still very important in the lore of the Spider-Man history. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you real soon. Peace.